Hello, my name is Sean Ennis with Ennis Management, and thank you for joining me here once again on the Creative Collective. And today I'm honored to be joined by a very special guest. He's a musician from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Gary Burk III.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining me today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
So, were you born and raised in Pittsburgh?
I grew up just north of Pittsburgh, but just outside of Butler. But born and raised.
So, what was growing up in Pittsburgh like?
Yeah, I mean, my hometown, I graduated with less than 100 kids. We had driver tractor school day. There wasn't a whole lot in the town to do, and that's kind of what we did. We played in the mud and got dirty. That was what we did on the weekends.
And growing up, did you sing in the choir or take any instrument lessons?
Yeah, I was in the school band. I played drums in the school band. I was in the choir. I did that all through high school. And just kind of stuck with it.
Do you have earliest memory involving music?
Yeah, when I was 9 years old, I was on my way to my family camp with my dad. There was a CD playing in the truck there, and I started singing along to it, and we realized that I sounded a lot like the guy on the radio, and the rest is history.
Now, what genre of music do you consider your work to be?
My own work, I would consider it to be Nashville country with some rock and roll to it. But I don't like to scare people with that because there's people out there that don't like Nashville country. I think my music has a little bit of something for everybody.
And who are some of your musical influences?
Yeah, I've looked up to Alabama. I've got the opportunity to hang out with Jeff Cook from that band, Aaron Lewis, and if I had to pick one more, it'd be Luke Combs.
And what inspires you to make music?
Honestly, it's my family. My family keeps me pushing and keeps me going. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am today.
What makes you different from other artists?
Yeah, I like to say that the difference that I have is the variety that I bring. My vocals are not just strictly Nashville country. I'm able to put a twist to them. I can, if it's Southern rock that I'm doing, I can do a little bit of Southern rock. If it's Nashville country, I can do Nashville country. If it's, rock and roll. I can pretty much do anything.
And do you play acoustic and electric guitar?
Yeah, I'm actually in the band that I play in. My band, I play the lead guitar, and I obviously do the lead singing.
And what's the name of the band?
It's my name, Gary Burk III.
Okay. And when you perform, what's your band comprised of?
Yeah, I got a drummer. His name's Tim Morabito. He's from Butler, Pennsylvania. I got a guitar player. His name's Robert Mead. He plays acoustic guitar and rhythm guitar and banjo and mandolin. He's from Boyers, Pennsylvania. And then Ange Jebedoni, he's on the bass guitar. And he's from Punxsutawney. So I kind of have a wide area of musicians.
All right, so let's talk about some of the music that you released. Let's talk about Friday Nights.
Yeah, Friday Night was the latest release that I had. It was released under MTS Management Group and MTS Records, and that's the one that kind of we got put on the map with, so to say, with MTS. It's got a real good party feel. It's about a Friday night party, kind of like what I grew up with and what we grew up with in the woods. So.
And can you kind of talk about the process of making that record?
Yeah, basically I have an awesome group of songwriters that pretty much do everything for me, and I couldn't ask for a better group. And they presented me the song, and as soon as I heard it, I was like, man, I gotta cut this. So the next week I was in the studio recording it, and we got it done.
And what was the first song that you released?
The first song I ever released was Crashed, and it's kind of a love story, so to say. It's about two people crashing into each other, falling in love.
And was this a song that you pulled from personal experience?
No, that was wrote by an awesome group of songwriters as well. Pretty much all my songs came from the same group of songwriters, and I just couldn't ask for a better group, so I've never changed them.
And how do you feel that it's helped or affected your music working in a collaborative effort?
I feel like it's helped a lot. I mean, it's always better to have a couple people to bounce ideas off of and, to hang out with and stuff.
All right, talk to me about Getaway Stick.
Getaway Stick's the third song that I released. It's about sitting by a poolside and seeing some legs. It seemed to go over real well. It's definitely more of a classic country rock song, I would call it. It's got the country vocals, but the rock and roll backing to it.
And This Is
was a follow-up to Crashed. It was actually kind of like the second part of the story. And it's just following up on, after they crashed. And this is what it is.
And is storytelling, you mentioned This Is being the follow-up to Crashed. Is storytelling a big part of your music?
It wasn't. And those two just kind of went together, so that's kind of where we left it.
Now, let me ask you, what is one thing that you absolutely love about the music industry? And tell me one thing that you hate about the music industry.
One thing that I love is that everybody's so supportive. Fellow musicians, everybody works together. Nobody's against anyone in this industry, and everybody's always willing to help anytime you need it, and they're willing to give you any advice. And one thing that I can say that I honestly hate is at the same time, some of the local support that you don't get, whether it be from a local radio station or from, just when you start getting somewhere, it's really hard to get an independent artist out there and get them heard. And, a lot of artists try, and they try and fight through it, but they just never can get through to some radio stations.
And can you talk about a little bit more about the challenges of being, an independent artist and trying to wear multiple hats of, creating the music, recording it, and then promoting it and trying to network?
Yeah, it's a full-time job. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you busy every day because you're always trying to reach out to the next person to get them to talk to you, or trying to get the next person to listen to your song. And it is a full-time job, keeping up with social media, keeping up with the radio stations, keeping up with everything, and it's awesome. It's the people that do support it. It's great because they're the ones that are really helping independent artists make something of themselves.
Do you remember your first time performing?
Yeah, I do. I was I think I was 13 or 14 years old, and I played with a friend of mine's band, just kind of filled in for a set. We played a bunch of cover tunes, and that was the first. It was at an American Legion, and that was my first experience of ever playing live, and I've loved it ever since.
And where are some of the places that you've performed?
I think the best show that I've ever performed was at Citadel Country Spirit USA. It was in front of about 44,000 people, and we had the opportunity to open up for Dustin Lynch, Cassidy Pope, Brett Young, and Alabama.
And can you talk a little bit about that performance and what made it so special?
Yeah, it was the first time we'd ever really taken a tour bus and gone out. You know, it was it was the end of our summer tour, but we were touring locally, and then that was our traveling show. So, you know, it was our first experience of getting in a tour bus all together, going out, playing the show, hanging out with the artists, you know, hanging out with the musicians, and getting to see the backside of that lifestyle.
Now, how do you feel that your music has evolved?
Yeah, I mean, you know, up until about 2 years ago, I was singing cover tunes and, you know, for either a campfire or less than 100 people at all times. And, you know, like I said, last summer we had the opportunity to close out a show with over 40,000 people. And this year we have a lot of big, great shows too. We're going to be opening up for some of the members of Leonard Skinner and 38 Special here in a couple weeks. We're going to be at the Outlaw Country Music Fest in just north of west of the West Virginia line. You know, we have a lot of great shows planned for this summer, and we're already booking into 2020.
And so, what has that been like going in such a short period of time to from playing covers to being signed and now starting to get booked as a musician?
Honestly, it's surreal. You know, it doesn't feel real yet. Because like you said, I went from being I don't want to say a bar musician, but I was playing in bars and clubs and, you know, pretty much anywhere that I could just to try to get exposure playing cover songs to play in some of the summer's hottest events.
Now, can you talk about one of your biggest challenges that you faced in your music career and how you've been able to overcome that challenge?
Yeah, I mean, you know, getting the music out there, that's kind of been the biggest challenge. It's hard to get the music into people's lap, and, you know, overcoming that challenge would have been the day I signed on with MTS Records. The day that happened, you know, I jumped up over 11,000 followers on Spotify, and, you know, my fan base grew immensely overnight, which was really great.
And what was that? So describe that emotion and that feeling.
It was exciting. It was nerve-wracking to watch it happen. It didn't feel real. You know, none of this felt real in the beginning. It was just all very unexpected. It happened really fast, and, you know, I'm extremely excited. I've been blessed with the opportunities to do what I'm doing.
And, you know, that's one of the biggest things being, you know, an independent and unsigned musician is that you work so hard on your craft, and, you know, if things aren't progressing and the fan base isn't building, that can really be frustrating. So when it really started to take off for you, and you started getting some feedback, what was that experience like?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of people reaching out to me, you know, congratulating me, and I had a lot of local newspaper articles and just different things, and people started recognizing me and noticing that, yeah, I was doing something with this, and it was a great feeling to have my hometown and my family and, you know, everybody standing right there behind me, pushing me to do this.
Now, what are your future goals or your ultimate direction for your music career?
Yeah, I mean, by 2020, I want to have a full album put out. I've kind of just been releasing, you know, I had the 3-song EP, and then I just released a single. I'm looking at releasing another single in the next 2 months or so. And, you know, ideally by 2020, I want to have a complete album, but I just want to make sure it's the right songs and just the right material in general.
Now, being that you've kind of, you know, you're not at the end of your career, but you've gone through different stages, you know, starting cover songs and playing in bars to now being signed and gearing up to go on tours. So what advice would you give for a musician just starting out their career or an aspiring musician?
Yeah, I mean, never give up. You know, it's all about persistence. It's all about the drive. You know, keep pushing for your dreams, and you will achieve them someday. You know, just don't give up on them.
And how can fans gain access to your music?
Yeah, you can head over to my website. It's GaryBurk3rd.com. There's links on there to go to Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, pretty much anywhere that you can buy music, you can get my stuff. There's direct links to my Facebook, my YouTube, everything right there on my website.
Now let me ask you, this is a question I ask a lot of musicians. What is your dream collaboration? If you could collaborate with any musician, alive or one that's passed on, who would it be and why?
It'd be Aaron Lewis. I love the rugged backwoods country style that he has. It's real rough, but it's good. I mean, I'd love to have the opportunity to sit down and write with him.
Can you share your social media links?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/theGaryBurk. You know, like I said, my website, GaryBurk3rd.com. YouTube, Gary Burk III. Pretty much anywhere that any of the social medias, it's Gary Burk III.
Is there anyone you'd like to acknowledge for offering you financial or emotional support through your music journey?
Yeah, definitely. You know, my dad has been behind me 100%. Huge shout out to him. I have a beautiful fiance and 4 kids. She's been behind me. You know, so have the kids. You know, it's been a lot to have them emotionally, you know, involved in this. And I couldn't have asked for a better family to do it. I mean, they support me 100%, and they're great. They love it, and they think it's neat to see Daddy and, you know, just doing this. So.
Is there anything else you'd like to promote or share?
Yeah, I mean, you know, thank you so much for having me on the show. You know, make sure you guys check out my website, Gary Burk III. Download Friday night on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere that you get your music. And, you know, thank you everybody for their support and the continued love and everything that you guys continue to give me.
All right, I'd like to give a very big thank you to my special guest today on the Creative Collective. As always, write your comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. And for all of your promotion, marketing, as well as music career consulting needs, email ennisproductions@gmail.com.